I was alone in that ranger station when I heard my own voice calling from outside. Let me back up. This happened 3 years ago, but I still think about it every single night. I came across this account on an old forum for Park Service employees, the kind of forum where people share things they can't put in official reports. The guy who posted this, he quit after one shift, one night. And after you hear what happened, you'll understand why. Welcome back to another episode of Scary Skinwalker Stories. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something that patrols the wilderness along the Navajo Nation border, something that wears faces that aren't its own. So this ranger, let's call him David, he was fresh out of college, 23 years old, loved the outdoors, loved hiking, thought being a park ranger would be the perfect job. He applied to a station in northern Arizona, right on the border with New Mexico. Remote territory. 50,000 acres of high desert and pine forest. The kind of place where you might not see another human for days. The job posting mentioned it was a solo position. Night shifts. He'd be the only ranger on duty from sunset to sunrise, monitoring the park, doing radio check-ins with dispatch, handling any emergencies. The pay was good. Really good, actually. Almost suspiciously good for an entry-level position. But David didn't think much of it. He just thought he'd gotten lucky. His first week was training. Daytime shifts, learning the basics, getting familiar with the station and the surrounding area. The other rangers were professional enough, but quiet. They didn't joke around much. Didn't talk about the job unless they had to. David noticed that nobody seemed to work the night shifts for very long. High turnover, they said. They were standing outside the ranger station. This small, single-room building with windows on all sides and a gravel lot for parking. Tom looked out at the tree line and he said, "I'm going to give you some rules. They're not in the official manual, but if you want to last more than one night, you'll follow them." Tom laughed it off at first, thought Tom was hazing him, but Tom didn't smile. "Don't go outside after midnight. Ever. I don't care what you hear or what you think you see, you stay inside until sunrise. If you hear voices, especially voices you recognize, ignore them. Don't respond, don't look for the source, just ignore them. Keep the lights on inside the station, all of them, all night." And then Tom said something that made David's skin crawl. "Something patrols the perimeter of this station at night. It's not an animal, it's not human, and it's curious about us. Don't give it a reason to be more than curious." David asked what he meant, what was out there. Tom just shook his head. He walked to his truck, opened the door, then turned back one more time. "Some jobs aren't worth the money, kid. Remember that." And then he left, just drove away, retired that same day and never came back. David spent that evening going through the station's logbook. Every ranger was supposed to document their shifts, any incidents. I know how this sounds, but he told himself it was probably just privacy stuff, legal reasons. He was trying to rationalize it. His first solo night started normal enough. Sunset was around 7 p.m. He did his rounds, checked the perimeter, locked up the equipment shed. The station itself was basic. One room with a desk, a radio, a small kitchenette, a cot in the corner. Windows on all 4 walls so you could see in every direction. A single door with a deadbolt. By 9 p.m., he'd settled in. Did his first radio check with dispatch. Everything was fine, quiet. He made some coffee, pulled out a book. It was peaceful, actually. He was starting to think Tom had been messing with him. That's when he heard footsteps on the gravel outside. Slow footsteps, crunching on the rocks. Steady rhythm. He looked up from his book and glanced toward the north window. The motion sensor light outside had clicked on, illuminating the gravel lot and the tree line beyond, but he didn't see anything, just empty space. The footsteps continued, circling around toward the east side of the building. David stood up and walked to the east window. He figured it was probably a deer or an elk. They got curious sometimes, wandered close to the buildings, but when he looked out, again, nothing. Just darkness beyond the small pool of light from the station. The footsteps stopped the moment he looked. Complete silence. He waited. 30 seconds, a minute. Nothing. So he sat back down, told himself he was being paranoid. First night jitters. That's when he heard the whistling. Faint at first, coming from somewhere in the woods to the west. A simple tune, almost cheerful. The kind of thing you'd whistle while walking down the street. But it was past 10 p.m., pitch black outside, and he was in the middle of 50,000 acres of wilderness. Nobody should be out there. The whistling got closer. David remembered Tom's words, never whistle back at night. He didn't know why that was a rule, but he kept his mouth shut. He just listened as the whistling moved through the trees, getting louder, circling around the station. It was moving in a perfect circle, consistent distance from the building, taking maybe 5 minutes to complete the loop. And the tune never wavered, never paused. It was too perfect, too rhythmic. Then it stopped. Dead silence again. No wind, no crickets, nothing. Just the hum of the fluorescent lights inside the station. David checked his phone. It was 11:45. 15 minutes until midnight. He tried to distract himself, scrolled through his phone, checked messages. His girlfriend had texted him earlier, asking how the first night was going. He started typing a response, something casual, trying to pretend everything was fine. That's when he heard her voice. "Babe? Babe, can you hear me?" He froze, but the voice kept calling. "Babe, please, I'm scared. I can't find my way back. Why won't you answer me?" He stood up slowly, backing away from the west window where the voice was coming from. He didn't look outside. He didn't respond. He just backed up until he hit the opposite wall. The voice changed. It got frustrated, angry. "Why won't you help me? I know you can hear me." And then it wasn't his girlfriend's voice anymore. It was higher pitched, childlike, a little girl crying. "Mister, I'm lost. My mom told me to find the ranger station. Please help me." David was shaking now. He knew. He absolutely knew there was no little girl out there. But the voice sounded so genuine, so terrified. He grabbed the radio, keyed the mic, whispered into it. "Dispatch, this is Station 7. I'm fine. Just checking in." The dispatcher's voice crackled back, professional and bored. "Copy that, Station 7. You sound a little shaky. You good out there?"
Yeah, I'm fine. Just thought I hurt something. Probably an animal. Copy that. Let us know if you need anything. David set the radio down, took a deep breath, looked at the clock on the wall. It was 12:15 a.m. The voices outside had stopped. Complete silence again. He waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Nothing. Maybe it was over. Maybe whatever it was had moved on. He was starting to relax, just a little. He walked toward the kitchenette to get some water, trying to calm his nerves. That's when he saw it in his peripheral vision. Something tall, moving past the south window. He spun around, but it was already gone. Just a shadow passing by. But it was too tall, too thin. The proportions were all wrong. And then the scratching started. Not on the windows, on the door. Slow, deliberate scratching, like fingernails dragging down the wood. 3 long scrapes, then silence, then 3 more. David stared at the door. The deadbolt was locked. He was sure of it, but the scratching continued. And then he heard his own voice outside. "Hey, it's me. I'm locked out. Can you open the door?" His voice, his exact voice. Same inflection, same slight rasp he had when he was tired. "Come on, man, it's cold out here. Let me in." David couldn't move. He was staring at the door.
He didn't know what else to say. How do you report that something is pretending to be you? The pounding stopped. Silence again. But this time the silence felt worse, heavier. And then he heard his mother's voice. "David, baby, it's so cold out here. Please open the door. Please, sweetheart." His mother had been dead for 2 years. Car accident. He'd been at her funeral. He'd watched them lower her casket into the ground. But that was her voice, the way she used to call him when he was a kid, the exact tone she'd used when she was worried about him. "David, I don't understand why you won't help me. Did I do something wrong? Baby, please." He was crying now, silently, tears streaming down his face. His legs felt weak. He wanted to open the door. Some part of him, some desperate, broken part of him, wanted to believe she was really out there. But he didn't move. He just stood there, shaking, listening to the voice of his dead mother, begging him to let her in. And then, nothing. The voice stopped. No more pounding, no more scratching, just silence. 10 minutes passed. David hadn't moved. He was still staring at the door, barely breathing. He thought it was over. He thought maybe finally it had given up. He walked slowly toward the kitchenette. He needed water. His throat was dry. His whole body felt like it was vibrating with it. But the proportions were wrong. The face was too long. The eyes were too far apart. And they didn't blink. They just stared, unmoving, reflective, like an animal's eyes caught in headlights. David couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. He was locked in place, staring back at this thing wearing his girlfriend's face. And then the face changed. It rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. And suddenly, it was his mother's face. Same eyes, same reflective, predatory eyes, but his mother's features. Then it changed again. Tom's face, the old ranger, staring at him with those same inhuman eyes. Then his own face. He was looking at himself through the window, but the eyes stayed the same. The thing tilted its head, slowly, 90 degrees, still maintaining eye contact, still not blinking, and then it smiled. That's when David noticed the other windows. He turned his head slowly, afraid to look but unable to stop himself. There were faces pressed against every single window, all four sides of the station. Different faces. His girlfriend, his mother, Tom, himself, co-workers, friends, people from his childhood, all staring in at him with the same reflective animal eyes. And they were all smiling. The door handle started turning, slowly, testing the lock.
He could see them now, at the tree line. Dozens of figures standing perfectly still, all watching him, all wearing different faces. But he knew they all had the same eyes. He jumped in his truck, locked the doors, jammed the key into the ignition. The engine roared to life and he threw it into drive. Gravel sprayed as he floored the accelerator, tearing down the dirt road that led back to the highway. He checked his rearview mirror once, just once. Something was running behind the truck, on all fours, keeping pace. He was doing 90 miles an hour down a winding mountain road, and this thing was keeping pace. He didn't look back again. He just drove, 40 minutes straight, white-knuckled, barely breathing, until he hit the highway. Didn't stop until he found a motel 30 miles away. He quit via email that same night, didn't even wait until morning, just typed out a one-sentence resignation and hit send. The Park Service called him the next day, asking if he'd come back to collect his belongings. He told them to throw everything away. He wasn't going back. Not ever. Later, he did some digging, found out that 7 rangers had quit that station in the past 3 years. Most of them lasted less than a week. The Park Service kept the position listed, kept hiring, kept sending people out there, but they never acknowledged what was happening, just marked it down as high turnover, isolated location, not for everyone. David never went back to park ranger work. He works in an office now, somewhere in the city. Lots of people around, lots of lights. He doesn't camp anymore, doesn't hike, won't even go for walks after dark. And Tom's last words finally made sense. Some jobs aren't worth the money. He still doesn't know what it was, what they were. But he knows one thing for certain. They're still out there, watching that station, waiting for the next person to work the night shift. So let me ask you, what do you think he saw that night? Some kind of skinwalker? Something else entirely? Have you ever experienced something like this? Let me know in the comments below. And here's the thing that still gets me about this story. The detail that David mentioned at the very end of his post. He still gets phone calls from that ranger station's number, always at 12:15 a.m.,